We begin with the continuous endorsements for President Bola Tinubu to remain in power until 2031, with the latest coming from the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, midterm into his first 4 years in office. Accepting the endorsement, President Tinubu told over 2,000 APC leaders and members at an APC summit in Abuja that better days lie ahead for Nigerians. The endorsement comes amid the massive defection to APC by opposition governors, lawmakers and other politicians, a situation many believe is gradually turning Nigeria into a one-party state. And I quote, he says, "I'm expecting more defections to APC," Tinubu told the gathering of party faithful as he received the nod by the party's highest political organs and hierarchy, insisting that one-party state system is not a crime. Now, this comes as the coalition of united political parties, CUPP, has vowed to resist any attempts to manipulate, steal, or rig the 2027 elections, as the All Progressives Congress adopted President Tinubu as the sole candidate for the 2027 presidential elections, leaving many in the party worried as to the future of others who may have such ambitions. Now, what are the implications of the wave of defections from PDP and others to APC, and how should the opposition respond to the situation? Well, to help us make sense of the turn of events in the political landscape, we have joining us in the studio a former member of the Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Oghene Egboh. He represented Ameh Federal Constituency of Lagos State in the 8th and 9th National Assembly. Thank you so much, Honorable, for coming.
I'm honored to be with you again.
And also joining us in the studio is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, Peter Ameh.
Thank you.
I know you're a chief in Kogi State. So that note, gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start with you, Honorable, and your party's decision to actually make President Tinubu the sole candidate. Doesn't that defeat the aim of democracy and political party itself? Yes, there should be a right of first refusal, but what of those who may have ambitions to actually contest 2027?
You know, if a party has a presidential candidate or a governor who is doing very well according to their manifesto, you know, the party may say, okay, this man have done so well. Why do we need another person? And they will say, okay, he's the best. We'll put forward for the next election.
But you create a fair environment. Do you think that at that summit there was a fair environment for those who may want to have such an ambition?
There was, because emotion was moved, and they allowed people who were not interested in that motion to say no. Nobody says so. Nobody raised his hand. Tinubu is a Democrat. If anybody has raised his hand to say, oh, we don't accept that he should be the sole candidate, of course, it would have been allowed to have.
And you think the person will come out of the presidential villa? I mean,
why? Why would he not come out?
Would the person even be there in the first instance? And would the person come out of the villa wholeheartedly?
The invitation was not restricted. It was sent to all leaders to come. I think that the APC as a party have looked at the presidential candidate, our president, Tinubu, and found out that he's the best person we should put forward for the next election. And that's why you see that both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House, very important people in the party, moved the motion. All party chairmen across the federation and leaders all attended that meeting, you know, and for them to come out unanimously with that, it shows that Mr. President is doing very well. It needs an applause. And like he said, that better days are coming, and the party believes in the the capability of Mr. President Tinubu to lead Nigeria out of the woods.
And Peter, the opposition has been kicking. A lot of you people seem to be interested in what's going on in the governing party. And you seem not to be happy with the endorsement. I mean, so why would you so much concern yourself with the activities of the governing party?
I think, first of all, we have to start that this desecration of our democratic institutions, like hosting APC meeting in the presidential villa, should stop.
Well, previous presidents did that too.
It is totally wrong, because we cannot continue to progress in error. What they are doing is bad. You are destroying the multi-party system we have, even destroying your own party. So when you talk about leadership of a political party, you have to differentiate it from leadership, that are elected to represent the general interest of our whole country. So because as soon as you're elected, you no longer belong, to one section of the country. That is very clear. Let's put that aside. And one of the things is that a lot of leaders, because of too many sacrifices around them, they don't learn from history. By 2007, PDP had 28 governors. You can see they had majority in the House of Assembly and the National Assembly across Nigeria. So you cannot say that with 22 governors and entrenched political structure that does not represent the true wishes and aspirations of all the general populace, that you are not going to win. That is not how you judge.
You saying that Tinubu is beatable despite all this endorsements?
In fact, it is easiest to defeat. What he's doing is about panic. What is happening in APC today is about panic.
So if the PDP had a similar thing, why is the opposition accusing the APC of the same thing? I mean,
no. You don't understand. Yeah. PDP had a similar thing. Yeah. Were they not defeated thoroughly in 2015? Yeah. Because the people have decided to decide. Our elections were before run by political interest, entrenchment. They say, oh, you must have Delta, you must have Lagos. Since 1999, nobody had defeated Tinubu in Lagos. It was beaten thoroughly in Lagos. Peter Obi defeated him in Delta. Peter Obi defeated him in Abuja. He was defeated in Nasarawa. You need to know that it is no longer entrenched political structure. It is not about the people, because people are getting to the realization that their vote can determine the course of action for our country. And if you have a youthful population that is over 50% of your population, you should be worried, because you now have enlightened society that are worried that there are no jobs. People are graduating every day. The unemployment is massive. Nobody's getting employed. In fact, people have to come to TV that they call the president to get their children jobs. That's how elementary we have turned our government system to. So we need to get these things right and put them in proper perspective, that the government is in panic and rigmaroling around the fact that this system has failed. Because if you have an improper decision-making process, that policy does not reflect the reality of the ground, then there's a problem.
All right, he raised a key factor there.
It's a key factor.
The PDP did similar thing. I mean, they had about 28 governors and all of that. And the APC only has just 22.
Yeah, at a time.
So people shouldn't be worried.
PDP actually had 31 governors.
Yes, I remember. Up to 31.
And yet they were defeated. If he's in the opposition, as he's saying, why is he worried about Tinubu? It should be we in the APC that should be worried that Tinubu is not good enough to win the next election. Tinubu is a Democrat, like I said, and he confirmed that by saying Tinubu was defeated in Lagos by Labour Party. If Labour Party defeated Tinubu in Lagos and Tinubu accepted the result, it shows it's a Democrat. If it's some people, they will try to rig the election. So Tinubu is not about rigging the election. His desire is to ensure good governance for Nigeria. And if Nigerians vote for him, he's happy. When they don't vote for him, he will not claim false votes. Otherwise, in Lagos, he had the capacity to ensure that the votes was changed, but he never did anything.
You're a Lagosian yourself. You've done your politics in Lagos, and that remains a blight in Tinubu's political capital.
No. It's not a blight.
Is that the fear that is driving Tinubu ahead of 2027?
It only shows that the man is a Democrat. It only shows that he has no desire to rig election anywhere. If he decides not to rig election in his own state, why will he go and rig election?
But people are saying that the endorsements are coming too early. I mean, we're a week away from Tinubu becoming, getting into his, 2 years in government and all of that. But people are saying that it's just too early. Tinubu being a progressive, someone who has had a democratic posture all this while, he should have waited until maybe after 2 years, and then, of course,
it's not about Tinubu. It's not Tinubu moved the motion. And Tinubu did not plan this. He called all party leaders.
Maybe they read his body language.
Well, I don't think so. I'm sure that the party leaders who were there, including senators, House of Rep members, ministers, state governors, state chairmen of parties, national officers of party around the federation who gathered here, they did go there for the purpose of endorsing Tinubu. But when they got here, they probably examined Tinubu's performance. I mean, look at the time Tinubu took over. Look at how bad the country was. At a stage, when he took over, in the first budget, he said that 97% of the nation's income was being used to service debts, especially fuel subsidy. 97%. So if a country was spending 97% of its income to service debts and to handle fuel subsidy, it shows the country was dead. So we can say Tinubu took over a government that was dead, a country that...
But an APC-led government.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
President.
Yeah, but an APC president have revived it. And today, the debt ratio service, as at the last budget he gave, from 97%, he has reduced it considerably to just about 50-something%. So we must commend him. So the party looked at everything. I was here myself. The party looked at everything and said, look, this is what we must do. This president have done very well.
All right.
Everybody, it was our president have done very well. Let us take him as our only candidate. And there was consultation. Nobody objected.
All right.
I'm sure that even now, if somebody stands up and says, oh, I want to be a candidate, I'm sure the party will allow him to run.
Well, we just hope they don't print only one form, we've seen in the past. Peter, I mean, we've also seen the IMF and World Bank endorsing Tinubu's economic reforms and all of that. Why is it difficult for the opposition to give Tinubu his flowers in those areas?
You see, we need to state something very clearly. We don't come to this public station and then misrepresent the information in the public. Tinubu never allowed Peter Obi to win Lagos. There were cases of people had been broken, people being threatened to be thrown off lagoon. These are
I've objected to that.
Just hold on. Allow him to speak.
I was very patient when you were telling Nigerians, railing out data that were not realistic, that are not, reflecting the true situation that Nigerians are facing on the street today. You are talking, look, Tinubu came into office without a plan. Nobody in this world. I read economics.
Well, I mean, I want to say this.
Let me just finish.
Just hold on. Just hold on. I just want to put on record that he actually has this renewed hope agenda.
Can I state my statement?
No, go ahead.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Just go ahead.
In that booklet, there was this. The day Tinubu was announced president, the day was supposed to be sworn in, he removed fuel subsidy. It was an impromptu and unplanned decision. Let me tell you, that increased transportation fare by almost 300%. Increased the cost of fuel. That's skyrocketed.
But he prevented the country from dying.
Listen.
The country would have crumbled.
The people suffering for that today, the people suffering for that today are the masses who receive 70,000, 100,000 hour salary. You cannot transport when you used to live, people used to live Yanya to come to work, Maraba, Masaka to come to work with 1,000, and suddenly increased to 3,500. How do you expect that to survive? These are the masses we're talking about. These are people who tighten their bed for Tinubu to survive the unplanned, the irrational policy of fuel subsidy removal.
Well, he insisted at that APC summit that decision was good, and he stands by that decision because there was a lot of corruption.
How come the World Bank?
That's his claim.
Was the corruption tackled?
How come the World Bank and IMF?
You can't just allow.
Just hold on. Let him make his point.
When people see truth, they try to want to interject at all costs. What I'm saying is that we're in the democracy now. I'm not bothered about what they are saying about whether endorsement. I know that when the current security situation, I've spoken to people from Yagba West, from Yagba East. I've spoken to people from Borno. I've spoken to people in Zamfara. And I know people are suffering. Nobody's traveling without convoy today, without looking for security. The life of our people are not safe. People can't go to farm and come back. So these are the statistics that is in the public.
No, but I'm saying for the one that he has been given his flowers, the economic aspect, the World Bank, the IMF, do you agree or not?
These are liberal policy that he has followed. He has removed fuel subsidy, so he should get accolade. I'm talking about the hit back effect of that policy on our people. That is where my concentration is. I'm not talking that he did not remove fuel subsidy.
He has a point there.
To our people?
Yeah, I mean, Honorable, why is it taking time for the economic reforms to trickle down to Nigerians?
Yeah, it takes time. The country was completely destroyed. If 97%, in other words, the country was being ruled with only 3%. That's why you see.
But Tinubu was the national leader of the APC when Buhari was president of this country.
Yes, he was, but he was not the decision maker. He was not the person making all the decisions. Buhari was the one taking all the decisions. Tinubu was national leader, but he was not the staff of Buhari, and he was not the advisor to Buhari.
So Tinubu was playing conspiracy of
silence.
Just hold on.
It's not conspiracy of silence. He's a responsible politician, and he doesn't want to look like he's enforcing his policy on Buhari.
Now, so how long do we need to have, how much time do we need for this policy to trickle down?
A bit of
That's
time.
what Nigerians are asking.
That Nigeria is still existing, that we can still pay salaries of workers, even though he's not giving Tinubu the accolade for raising salary from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira minimum wage, we know the president did a good thing by doing that. It takes a bit of, we only need to be patient because we went very down. The economy was completely
But that's what Buhari also kept saying. Let's
no,
be patient,
but it
became 8 years.
But we can see Tinubu's own. The World Bank and IMF never came up at any time to commend Buhari for what he was doing.
Why some Nigerians actually commend him for the disappearance of queues in fuel stations.
That is
Nonetheless, the affordability is what Nigerians are also complaining.
Yeah, but
a lot of people can't use their cars again. But
let me tell you what. A situation where everybody wants to buy a car, even in Britain. When you go to Britain, no, let me tell you, in advanced countries, when you go to America or Britain to visit them, some of your richer friends, you find that they park their car and enter bus.
This is a system of fake government.
No. They enter bus because the cost of fuel is expensive all over the world. Right. But it was only Nigeria we were wasting it. And because of that, countries surrounding Nigeria were living on Nigeria. You know that in Cameroon, there was a riot because Nigeria removed fuel subsidy. So it shows you that we were paying for the economy of Cameroon, we were paying for Chad, even up to Sudan.
Okay.
So what Tinubu did is the right thing. It's unfortunate that there's some suffering that came with it. And Tinubu said it's aware. And as he's going ahead, it is getting better. For instance, he's trying to do a rail line that will run from Lagos down to Abuja. That will reduce costs. The road from Sokoto to Badagry is of course the coastal road that passes where oil is produced, the money used to run the economy, is of course, and they are starting it from 3 areas. Lagos, over 32 kilometers have been done. They've started from Cross River. So what I'm telling you is that the president has an agenda and the things are working. The time is too short for us to say, what he's doing is bad. Let us give him time.
Yeah.
And we'll see the good
result.
result.
For us to review Tinubu's government, but the time is not too short into 4-year term
now,
for him to get an endorsement from his party.
Now, why do you
It is his party. Why are you worried about this party? It's not your party.
Does not deserve a second term. I mean, why is the opposition so worried about the internal issues of the governing party?
No, I'm not really worried about the internal issues.
You are.
I'm concerned about the lives of ordinary Nigerians on the street. Look, let me tell you, when you have a government that is not connecting with the people, that is elitist in nature, that the things that about entrenchment of political structure by elites who are in government is the only way they can return. We do not relate that the people have the autonomous authority to decide this whole outcome. Look at the life of the people. Look at what the inflation have done to the out of pocket expenditure of the ordinary masses on the street. Do you know in those days people can buy Corolla? Which worker can buy Corolla today? It's over 10 million naira. See, you need to have.
So what's the alternative that the opposition is bringing? That's what Nigerians are asking. Because the opposition doesn't seem united. They have been trying to form a coalition, and it doesn't look like there's an agreement as to what should happen.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative of the APC. The Northern League of Democrats, we have just decided to be part of the coalition of all the opposition. See, when you interject, one get to have to recalculate.
Yeah, but I have to actually say some points.
But the problem generally is that this government has been disconnected from the people. You don't get into government, and the first thing you do, you are spending 150 billion in buying jet, about over $1 million in buying private cars. You know the kind of budget line. We don't have a budget that is driven by competence, that is driven by purposeful leadership. That you have to look at the budget as it is. Look at the budget today. Look at that. What budget found in the budget? Over 400 billion. To be used for solar street light that you will not see anywhere. We need to prioritize the expenditure of our country, and we need to look at how much we can do to revive the free education that has been mandated in the constitution, that there should be free education across board. Today, when you talk about what the MNF have done, you've not talked about perception, corruption perception index. You're not talking about human perception index. You're not talking about genuine perception. All the CPI, HD, all these things, you've not talked about them. They are in poor shape. So we are not just looking at general statement of, INF say they collected money, they are paying back. What is happening to our people? What is the microeconomic policy that the government have put in place to help our people get out of poverty? Look, small scale and medium enterprises is the mainstay of any economy in the world. You have come up with disparity electricity tariff. Everything is costly. Data tariff is expensive. People can't make calls at the cost. Look, the tariff that is being put on the Nigerian people. Why is it only Nigerians that are bearing the burden of cost of governance?
So what is the alternative going forward? What is the opposition going to be offering as something or policies that will be distinct from that of the APC?
These are the policies that we have mentioned. You are talking about, look, listen, we are talking about fuel and Dangote filling station. These were not things initiated under, government is a continuum. There were not things initiated under Tinubu. Dangote was almost 90% completed when Tinubu came.
It doesn't matter.
Listen, I'm trying to get the point because you are taking credit for a situation that started throughout Jonathan regime.
But it's managing it well.
Since Tinubu got into office, he has brought nothing but policies that have impoverished our people. I want to be able to see genuine policies that will drive not this cash transfer that is not driven by data, that is not driven by proper data.
I disagree with you. A lot of people got the cash transfer.
Yeah, I mean, he was a PDP before eventually.
Yes.
Well, that's what's going on right now.
For instance, Tinubu is not forcing anybody to join him.
Well, that's what he said.
I was in the PDP. On my own, I went to the APC because I found out that the Renew Hope agenda of Tinubu is working very well for our people. You are only looking at the short term. This economy was completely destroyed before Tinubu came in. I was telling you about some of the things.
Destroyed it.
Just hold on.
I was telling you about PDP was part of those destroyed, but I was telling you about some things. A lot of projects that are going on, the coastal road, for instance, is on. The railway that's coming to Abuja is on. Now, the one to Kano is almost completed. And from Port Harcourt, the railway and road they are doing to link Maduguri is ongoing.
Well, I think that of the Abuja, the one from Lagos to Abuja, I don't think it's been given out yet.
No, it's good. It's been done.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the plans, actually.
It's in the plans. Yeah, with private partnership.
Yeah.
And you cannot come in within 2 years. You feel that this should be complete. It's not possible. But a lot of projects are going on.
Yeah, but those in the opposition are probably saying that Tinubu is putting politics ahead of governance.
No, it's not.
Even before his second year in government, he's already getting endorsement. And what they are saying is that despite the endorsements, that they could actually beat him at the polls in 2027.
The endorsements are being done by people who know that and feel that he's doing well. For instance, some like Delta State government, the governor, the past governor, they have all joined APC. They were not forced to join APC.
Let's not discuss that one.
Well, that is we commend him for that. The Cross Kwai Ibom governor is coming in soon, and a lot of senators, House of Rep members are leaving their party to join APC. All this is not by magic. It's because they perceive that the president is doing well. No, the president is not putting a gun to anybody's head. He's not forcing anybody.
Okay,
if he's not doing well.
As we try to...
Don't forget that this is just 2 years.
Yeah.
The man has been in office for 2 years. So when the party reviewed it, they are happy that he's doing well. The other man knows that Tinubu is doing well. It's only you that don't feel
well, as we try to wrap up these conversations, there was a meeting between Peter Obi, former Governor Kaide Fayemi, and Tinubu, President Tinubu in Rome. I mean, what do you think that Peter Obi could have told you? I mean, you an associate of Peter Obi, could there be, I mean, a politics of balance in their discussions and all of that?
Peter Obi will be trying to speculate. Peter is one of the most disciplined person I have ever met. He has conquered greed. I can tell you this for free of charge. I'm telling you, Peter Obi, as a person who belongs to the system, he was in Rome for the burial of the late Pope, and decided to participate in the installation of the new Pope. And you can read from Bicker Juku's testimony. It was them that approached that Peter Obi should go and greet the president. And as a responsible citizens of this country, who all know grudges and believe that whoever will determine who will govern this country will eventually come from the citizens.
Do you think that they could have had a discussion on the future of Nigeria?
About
within the brief moments,
except pleasantries. And Peter Obi can never betray the trust of his people. And he's a very committed person. And let me tell you something about the coastal road in Lagos. You have to look at priority. Because if you don't prioritize issues, you always do financing expenditure that will not reflect and help our people to expand their lives. You are talking about coastal rail. The National Assembly, we've not seen whether that budget, that particular pass through appropriation. That's one. There. So you are talking about a project that is driven by secrecy.
It's been
driven by impromptuness, that is driven by the whims and caprices of those who occupy offices and say, let there be road. Let me tell you, there's no appropriation for that. Even Akpabio was on record to say that as soon as they bring it to them, they will approve it. There's nothing, and this thing is going on. And two, we have, I think this should be the right figure, about 46,000 kilometers of federal roads. What are we doing? From Enugu to Anambra, Enugu to Anambra to Oka is about 65.
Those are hard ground. These are hard ground. This is a coastal road.
We need to be able to prioritize our situation. We need to be able to get people from here to Lokoja. Get people from here to Osaka.
Okay, how about the issues of food, for example, that the government claims that they've made some successes with reduction of food prices and all of that?
I am telling you that this government is important. Because I've not seen, they are important to try to crash the price of food. Well, we have variable land. Kogi State is about 30,000 kilometers square of land. Nanja is about 75,000. We are not seeing any government establishment investing in agriculture in a way it should be. Look, the greatest way to remove Nigeria out of poverty, the shortest gestation period for any investment is in the agricultural subsector.
Right.
And if we must have a government that must be proactive, Tinubu have not focused on that direction.
All right, he wants to reply you. He wants to reply you on that.
First of all, you talk about the coastal road, and you said it's not a good project, it's not prioritized.
I never said that.
So what are you saying? You said
what you said that it was not put in the budget.
Wait, it was hurriedly done. Let me tell you, that road is in appreciation of the people who provide all the money that Nigeria needs. The entire oil producing community, the road is passing there. Listen,
you are doing politics. I'm talking about facts.
It takes you 10 hours to get from Lagos to Port Harcourt, right? Now, without road, it will not take you more than 3 to 4 hours.
So there's no need for appropriation.
Listen. It will not get up to that. And the places that road is passing are the people who produce the oil.
So these are not the issues.
Well, he is saying that. I mean, you're a former federal lawmaker.
Putting money without appropriation.
Yes, that should be properly appropriated. Well, initially there was a problem with that. With the Minister of Works, Umahi saying that it wasn't fully appropriated, but with time that to be brought in.
Environmental impact assessment was even done after journalists from My Rights TV raised objection on
I mean those issues.
These are issues that we are aware of. We don't forget. We don't have short memory now.
All right, go ahead.
Let me tell you, when you have some projects, right? A president can start a project, even the governor can start a project that is very important, and then later on, the cost is worked out and it's appropriated. But let me tell you, let me tell you another thing. Let me tell you another thing.
Very quickly,
I did not disturb you.
You don't understand that. I don't do this thing.
Now, the MD of BUA, Chairman of BUA, who is about the third richest man in Nigeria, he came up, he said a week ago, he said he's surprised that people don't give Tinubu credit for what he's doing. He said a bag of rice used to cost over 120,000 naira. Today, the bag of rice is coming to about 60,000. He said he's selling it less than that. Now, he's importing rice. And in the importing of rice, Tinubu have removed duty so that the common man will not suffer. But that is not going to be permanent. What you are saying, listen. What you are saying now is that you wanted to start planting. Before it will take time for the planting in Nigeria, the gestation period. People will die of hunger. But the president have decided that let us bring in food so that the common man does not suffer. No. And Samad congratulated, he said he's surprised that the opposition keep complaining, no food. Whereas the president is doing so much.
Well, could that be the reason why you joined the APC? I mean, could that be part of the reasons why you had to leave PDP to join the APC?
Of course, we have to join because it's a big task.
All right.
If it's not to do, I don't know who
one of the key things is about the issues of the one-party state.
Yes.
And you are kicking that having a one-party state could be dangerous to Nigeria. How dangerous could it be?
But let me
just hold on.
Okay.
Let him
I've never kicked.
Quickly.
I only talked about early endorsement. I know whatever they are doing is not achievable. I know at the end of the day, those who are going to the polls will be the Nigerian electorate who actually are feeling these pains. If you go to rural communities, we don't have president that travel on the road, so he wouldn't really understand. And he has people around him that are probably telling him lies. If he goes around market cycles and goes around to relate and interact with Nigerians, he will discover that Nigerians, how they call it, are eating from hand to mouth. So it's a very difficult situation as we speak. And you like open out the border, not plan for how we can plan rice, and then to try to crash price and say you have crashed price. This is an artificial crashing of price. So we need to have an economy that is sustainable, that can relate with the situation of the country, that will create jobs and then expand our economy.
Let me say very quickly. And then also tackle the issues of one-party state too.
When you talk about one-party system, I just laugh. Like I said, APC has just 22 governors. There was a time PDP had 31 governors, and they both said they will stay for 100 years. They had 31 at a time. Check your record. So what I'm telling you is that if the president does not do well, of course, he cannot win for the election. But if people perceive him as they are perceiving that he's doing well, he will continue to win. And at all time, you know, a country like Nigeria has several parties. Right. He belongs to one of them. Yeah. So it's not possible to talk about one party.
Former chairman of the political party.
That is it. Then very quickly, when you talk about issues of rice planting, a lot of money has been allocated to that. Even rice, cotton, palm trees, you know, all food items, including yam and everything, cassava. Provisions have been made. If you don't know, go and find out. Very
quickly, ahead of 2027 now, how confident are you that INEC will do the right thing for Nigerians to be confident of their votes? Very quickly before we go. I've looked at election all over the world, and I've discovered that it's not the regulatory agency that does the right thing. It is the people who are determined to have their life changed. If you look at Donald Trump's second election, in fact, at every polling unit, they had more than how many lawyers, they have structures in place to defend each of their votes at the polling unit. So you don't expect the system to always do right by your people. The system is always attached to, you know, entrenched interest, political favoritism, because the appointing authority also have a reflection on what the commission does. So at the end of the day, I am very confident that we now have a youthful population of over 50%, and I'm very confident that they are educated, they are exposed, and they are going to do what is possible. That's if the opposition the opposition gives them a better candidate.
Yeah, talking about the youth. Don't forget that. Listen. Don't forget that Tinubu is the only person who is giving loans to students, that young population.
All right, gentlemen, I'm afraid
it has not been done. A lot of people crash out of school because nobody to pay school fees. Now, once you apply,
there should be free education and food in school.
All right, Honorable Oghene Egboh is a former member of the House of Representatives, representing Ameh Oghene Federal Constituency, and I mean, PDP was very good to you, but of course you had to leave to join the APC. That's where the music.
For the interest of Nigeria.
Okay, interesting. And all right, and Peter Ameh here is the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, and an associate of the Labour Party leader, Peter Obi. I don't know whether
he's dead on arrival.
All right, let's just be hopeful that the opposition coalition will actually be strong enough to challenge the president ahead of time. We must thank you, gentlemen, for this interesting time that you spent here, and we just hope that when we get close to 2027, it will be issue-based politics and not politics of personality. We must thank you so much for joining us.